Welcome to the Beyond the Bucket Show, a podcast centered around optimizing all lives' buckets. We all have buckets we are balancing: coaching, entrepreneurial ventures, family, passion projects, and health. Let's all take this journey together and become bucket fillers. And here's your host, Chris McSwain.
Welcome back to Beyond the Buckets. Thank you for joining us on another great episode. Before we start the show, make sure you like, subscribe, and tell a friend about this podcast, because that's how it keeps on growing and we continue to do what we do. But today's esteemed guest is Coach Gus Gauntlett. He is the head varsity coach at KIPP Esperanza High School out of Palo Alto, and also runs a podcast himself called Buckets. Coach, what is it called?
Get Buckets. And don't get
Buckets.
It's East Palo Alto.
East Palo Alto.
Slightly different than Palo Alto. Slightly.
My fault. I should have did my research before we jumped on, because I don't do research. We just have great conversations here. And I got my good friend Gus. Welcome to the show, brother.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man.
We've been trying to get it scheduled, and finally, with our summer schedules, we've been able to do it, and we get to do it in person, which is even better for us and our listeners. But before we start, man, we got to get a fun fact about yourself before we kick off the show.
Okay. I'll give you two, actually. Basketball related. I was a practice player for the women's UCSB team when I was there in 2006.
There you go.
Which was a beautiful just experience. And actually, one of the players from that team, Sheree, is now an NBA referee.
Wow. So Sheree's she had the blonde hair, right?
Yeah. She bleaches every now and then. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, she's a good official.
Yeah.
That's I didn't know you were a practice player for them. I do want to get into that in a little bit, but what's number two?
Number two is I once won a car on The Price is Right when I was a freshman in college, and my brother 2 years prior won the entire Showcase Showdown.
Wow. So you got the game show gene in your bloodline, huh?
Gee, we grew up, summertime was me and my bro watching Price is Right all morning, every summer. So when we got to college, I went to SB, he went to LA. We had the chance to go, and to my knowledge, we're the only siblings that have both won on The Price is Right. We're still waiting for our 30 for 30.
We need to get that Guinness Book of World Records to double check that. Is The Price is Right still going on?
Oh yeah, Mr. Drew Carey is holding it down now. Okay. Which respect to Drew, but Bob Barker's he's untouchable, man.
So is there any like scheming to get understanding like the price? You can't go over.
Correct.
You can't go too low. You can go low if everybody else goes high.
You can go the $1 route too.
Right. So when you first get selected, you are the first pick. So what was your schematics when it came to being the first pick? And then I don't know how long you were until you won.
Yeah.
But what was that like?
Yeah. So number one, the most important part about getting on the show is act a fool pre-show, because they just line people up 20 at a time with the producer. They ask you one question only: what's your name and where you're from? You have 15 seconds in that time to make yourself be like, oh, that person's going to be good TV to watch.
Yeah. And
so I gave him everything.
So what'd you give him in that 15 seconds?
So honestly, I actually had written a poem that I wanted to share with them, because I thought that would set me apart.
Yeah.
And they squashed it. They were like, if you perform a poem and get called on, then everyone will do that thinking they can get on. So they squashed it. So I had to scramble quick. So I just shouted out my brother, who had won 2 years prior, and just, gave him like a goofy smile and a bunch of energy. And that was it. But honestly, like my original plan got squashed. And then once I got called on the show, maybe halfway through the show, I actually won the first bidding item when I came down to the four down low. And honestly, just read the audience. The audience has heck of knowledge. So I feel like always read them, higher or lower than the previous bidder. And I bid on two running sport baby carriages or something like that.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you got to the final showdown.
Yes. So when they said that the car was the prize, I was just locked in. I was like, okay, this is my moment as an 18-year-old. And it was actually a very tough game where you had to basically, there was the price, 5 digits in the price, and you had 5 digits to choose from for each number in the price. And so you had to like pull it down, and that was all audience. I was holding up numbers, like choosing like this, following like the general consensus of the crowd for thumbs up, thumbs down, and I took it down. And when all of a sudden the price goes ding 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 ding, like you won, it was over. I was sprinting around the stage. I was that kid.
You got video clips of it still?
It's on VHS. I'm gonna send it to you. I'm gonna get on DVD. I'll send it to you sometime. It's absurd.
That'd be nice if we could break those clips up. How they do it on IG, where it's like we're talking about this, and then that pops up. So okay, that's dope, man.
Yes, sir.
And then second part would be talk about becoming a practice player for UCSB.
Yeah. So Santa Barbara was just a bunch of hooping, at the rec cen, intramurals, all that stuff. And then the more and more I started to hoop, I just kind of made friends with both like the women and the men's players down there, just kind of through community. It's not really a big school. SB is a pretty small program, especially at that time. And the more I balled, I came across April McDivitt, who's actually a really dope coach, really dope women's coach. She played at Tennessee under Pat Summitt for like a year or two. Yep. And I think she transferred to SB to finish off. And she ended up becoming an assistant at SB. So I think I just came across her actually like in the summer, just hooping. And she kind of liked my game, super fundamental, super high energy. And she was like, hey, you want to come check out and be a practice player? And so I gave it a try, and it was super fun. Like, I just loved helping out and learning. Like, that SB always had a really solid program, like especially like in the early 2000s, like really good program. They actually had a girl from the Bay Area in my high school, Tanya Green. She went to Pacific, and then but there was also a connection to SB, which I'm blanking on right now. But yeah, it's a dope experience, and I got to see the game, and connected.
So what was that like for people that don't know? Almost every Division I women's college program has the opportunity to bring in practice players that are the opposite gender, male practice players, because they're probably going to be a little bit faster, more physical, maybe even taller in certain respects at certain positions. So that's kind of what the college basketball does. I think there's a limit on how many practice players they can have. Is it 5?
Yeah, we had 5 exactly.
And then, what would be the misnomer that you would tell everybody about being a practice player and going against women athletes who are at a high level? Because a lot of guys think that they could come in and they could dominate these girls, and that's just really not the case. From my seat, I've seen so many great high level women that can beat good high school boys basketball players or men that may have played in high school or even college, because that next level is just different in a lot of ways.
100%. Like you're saying, there's hoopers there, and so when we're going, especially like on the 5-on-5 drills, when you're working through pick and rolls, with solid power forwards and centers, like you're feeling those screens. Like that's different from a high school screen to any gender. So that was a great eye opener. And they had some bucketers. Mia Fisher, came out of the Bay, Amador Valley, super elite high school player, won state at least once, if not twice, when she was in high school, went to SB, and she was cooking, like absolutely cooking, just a nice 2-guard with handle, shot, drive, everything. So like really just to echo what you're saying, they're just ballers, and I felt really grateful and blessed to be able to like play our small part in helping get the squad ready every week. And it was a dope experience also just to see the coaches. Like it was really, really dope. That was my first experience ever seeing D1 coaching, like at that level, both from the head coach, the assistants, strength and conditioning. So it was really dope to see like how like a really quality D1 program runs.
And what was something that you took away from the coaching that you saw?
Yeah, I think honestly, I didn't understand the level of detail necessary at that point. I was 18 years old. I played at a pretty big high school here in the Bay Area, Homestead. But really seeing that next level is the level of detail. Everything from angle of screens to placement to timing, just things that I had not even really been exposed to yet. I never played AAU. I was strictly a high school player. So that was a really, really great exposure for me.
Wow. Speaking of angle of screen, I rewatched our podcast together on yours on Get Buckets. And you were talking specifically about the angle of the flare screen that we would set. And so just that seems to be something that you were very passionate about, like screening in the right ways to get your angle. And the way I put it is very simple when it comes to how our philosophy is. Wherever you want them to go, that's where your back needs to be. So,
right.
if you set a 1-4 screen, a lot of times you're just going to set it like almost where parallel to the sideline, where you need to be almost, closer to the basket, back almost to the basket, like at the 45 or even more, where it's just like a flat screen towards the basket and then they can kind of go off it. But where did your level of detail start when it comes to just screening and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think just as I've gotten older, you see the game and you see games millions and millions of times, and you start to see like what's effective and what's not. And also it's been blessed to play with really good players. So I'm from the Bay, but I lived in New York for 13 years, playing a bunch of adult leagues out there, outdoor tournaments, things like that. And so when you're just exposed to that much hoop, you start to realize like, oh, these small little things actually make a huge difference. And that was super dope is that, I train a couple of JUCO guys over at Skyline, and just to work with them now and just seeing like how the impact of these small details leads to success or lack thereof. Even with something as simple as a screen. When I'm working with them, running game actions, even having like some guard to guard screen actions, there's such a difference, as I'm sure like between at the base level, just making sure you're hitting the defender, but two, as you're saying, where do you want the ball handler to go, and where do you need to set yourself up to get there? And so, when you're 17, 18, 19, you may not have really been taught that yet. But so I think I'm really grateful now to be able to pass that on, because I was taught and now I'm able to pass that on to younger folks.
Yeah. And for the non-coaches out there, you won't really respect this, but I think patience is key in anything. And so this can be applied to life as well, but being patient. So if I have the ball, I cannot start going while the screener is coming towards me. And that is like nonverbal communication that is happening on the court. So as I'm handling the basketball, I have to wait till my screener stops. Once my screener stops, that means I can go. As far as the person who set the screen, once they have come off, now I can actually move. Either I'm going to long roll to the basket, short roll into the mid-range, or fade out for a shot. Those are basically the three options, or go and set another screen. But those three things are very important. One, I have to wait. Number two, they have to sprint to and stop at the screen. And then three, once I have now gone past and made my move, that's when I can roll or short roll or pop for opportunity there. So I think those are three things when you're talking about screening that everybody has to have. Do you have any separate ones or anything that I missed on that?
No, I love the nonverbal communication part. Like I just played in this 3-on-3 tournament on Saturday at Menlo. And a good buddy of mine was on my team who's just an incredible screen setter and is passionate about it. And so at this point, like him and I kind of have like a mind meld. Like we just know the angles that we like to work on. I also like the idea of like rescreening is all good. Right. If that first one is a whack screen, like why just keep the action going with no, change in the defense? Like boom, rescreen and then run it again. So I think that's really important too.
Give a 2-3 minute backstory on you. Obviously born in the Bay Area, but moved around a little bit and had a lot of experiences elsewhere. So go ahead and shoot your shot on that.
Yeah. So I went to UCSB for college and was blessed to study abroad in Durban, South Africa, my senior year, and actually able to play for the college team out there, which was an incredible experience. And like the level, like the college that I was at, like they don't really have like D1, D2, D3 out there. But I'd say it's like equal to like a D3 NAIA border type of school out there, but it was just so dope to be out there for 6 months and be able to play with the squad. So that was dope. And then came back to the Bay, then moved right away to Brooklyn. I was in New York for 13 years, hooping and working. Youth development has always been like a big passion of mine, both in terms of basketball, but also just in terms of just, life and skills and things like that.
Pause on that. Yeah. Did you ever go to Smorgasburg out there in Williamsburg?
I may have passed by it, man. I was you wouldn't catch me in Williamsburg too much, to be honest with you, man. I was in Sunset Park, which is like in southern Brooklyn, and then hooping, just all over the city. But I'm familiar with Smorgasburg, and I know it's a ill spot.
It's a real nice. Basically, hundreds of food trucks pull up to this parking lot, and you can have whatever you want. So like my wife and I went out there, and she lived in New York too for a little bit, but New York is probably one of our favorite places ever. If we were younger and had no kids, we would definitely consider living out there. But I think that window is probably past. But great place. The smorgasbord. I mean, you can get the donut the size of your head.
Yes,
you can
sir.
Get lobster rolls, lumpia. Like we went to town. Luckily, you walk everywhere in New York, so we didn't gain too much pounds. But yeah.
No doubt. I mean, it's the best city in the world for food. And, I would argue like definitely for outdoor hoops, like obviously just the culture out there is so deep. And it really was like one of the main reasons that I moved out there. Like I wanted to experience what the hoops culture was like. And like, it's incredible. Like if you love hoops, you're going to love New York City, like period.
Yep. So sorry to interject, but
no.
I had to give you that Williamsburg or smorgasbord.
Yeah. Get it in.
Yeah.
Get it in. So after 13 years out there, me and my wife, when I met out there, we had a child and, wanted to raise her around like, our blood family here in the Bay. So came back home and just happened to move back 3 months before the pandemic hit. So, kind of like many people, like our life was, put on hold to a certain degree. But what actually was the blessing I took from it was I used the pandemic to get my teacher credential in my master's. And now I'm able to be a high school teacher and athletic director, which is where I'm at KIPP Esperanza in East Palo Alto. Super dope. Got the opportunity to start the school. So I was one of the founding athletic directors and founding PE teachers. And this school was started during COVID. So we had young people who did their first year online, and then we added a grade each year. And then we just graduated our first senior class last month.
And how many students do you guys have now?
We're tiny, man. We're at 240.
Yep. So
we're really small, really, really small. So I'm also athletic director. So, we're really, especially coming out of COVID, trying to get kids back, actively engaged in physical participation of team sports and things like that. So, getting our volleyball teams, our soccer teams, cross country and track and basketball, fielding teams and just getting them out there to have fun and learn all the life skills that I'm sure obviously you know about and you teach every day.
Yep. And is it a private school that is assisted as far as financially, or does everybody have to pay for it?
No, this is a public charter school.
Got it.
So completely free. The interesting part is, so East Palo Alto prior to this past year, has no public high schools. Zero. There used to be one back in the 90s. And then, obviously EPA was a very different place in the 90s as it is today. And so there, for the past 30 years, kids have been bussed out. They get bussed to MA, Sequoia, Woodside, Carlmont, right? So kids were not able to go to high school in their own community. So then I want to say at least 25 years ago, East Side College Prep was the first one to really pop up, founded by Chris Bischoff, really great dude. That's considered a free private school, which is just dope. Like, I love that idea of like having a certain level of accountability in terms of like get to the school and stay with the school, but he doesn't charge any money. And now there's a couple other small charter schools like us that are in East Palo Alto so that kids can walk to school. And
so how does the funding happen for an East Side Prep?
Yeah, East Side Prep, they're just, they're donors. You know what I'm saying? Like Chris, my understanding is that Chris, has connections through people in the Bay Area that keep it going, and they have donors and all that good stuff.
And then how does it work for your charter school?
Yeah, just like your standard charter model, which is like, we get state funding based on enrollment. And then also we get, grants, donations, because KIPP is a huge charter network all across the country. So it's that public-private mix.
Yep. And is the KIPP, is it like a Jewish affiliation at all?
No.
Okay.
Nothing. Yeah, just big old charter school. There's two in San Jose here. There's KIPP San Jose Collegiate, and there's KIPP Navigate. Usually they co-locate on the campuses of big schools like Independence or Overfelt. But we're blessed. Actually, we have our own campus that we own in East Palo Alto.
Great.
And our own gym, which as a PE teacher and athletic director is like the dream.
For sure.
It was built within the last 10 years. So it's gorgeous. Super fly.
Good. I haven't been out there. I know you have open runs and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
It's just super busy on the weekends, but I definitely want to get out there and play with you guys because I know you got a good exclusive run.
Yes,
so
sir.
Those are the type of runs that I like. I don't really like playing with a lot of people that I don't really know anymore just because my competitive juices start flowing and then I start getting into it. People like I played a couple of times at the club that we belong to. Los Gatos, and I'm just always getting into it. And people that don't know the rules and don't know how to play it, like I'm going to say something, and so I just try to exclude myself from some of those type of in competitive environments because I just get to a level where it's just I'm too competitive in a lot of ways. So,
I feel you, and I love our open run in that we have like a good mix of like JUCO boys, like we got guys coming from like Foothill, Skyline, Ohlone, all these like 19 and 20-year-old guys that want to keep continuing their journey, and we also have dudes in their late 20s, 30s, late 30s that just been hooping forever. But like you're saying, that we want to play the right way. The competition is solid. Like everyone's hella competitive up in there. And it's good hoopers. We definitely keep on an invite only, basis for sure.
For sure. So talk about like what that process was like for you guys starting KIPP Esperanza. I got to make sure I pronounce it the correct way.
Yes, sir.
But talk about that process, because obviously if you're starting something from new, it's just basically like a canvas. I think about like this wall behind, like this was just a piece of, drywall that was painted white, right? And then all of a sudden you start putting pieces that kind of mimic what you want it to be and basically put your flavor on it. So, cause you are the flavor artist, right?
Yeah.
So what flavor did you guys put on it when you guys first started the school?
Man, love. We had young people who had just been through 2.5 years of COVID, and, every young person at our school is different. So there's no monolithic life experience. And, in EPA, there are a huge amount of folks that are dealing with challenges around economic security, around citizenship, around housing security. So COVID hits those communities extra hard, right? Yep. Like it's just different. So they start high school first year online, missed most of middle school as well. And now they're coming on campus as sophomores in a high school with only 2 grades to start, because we added a grade each year. So our flavor was love. These young people have been through just unimaginable challenges the past 2 years, like many young people had. So for us, it's just like welcoming them, trying to help them remember the importance of like physical interaction, even though we were all masked up and socially distancing at that time. But, trying to recreate normalcy. Like I'm a PE teacher and athletic director. So I had a beautiful job of like, all right, y'all, we have to move your bodies, because it's possible that your body movement for the past 2.5 years was like minimal to none.
Right.
And that I'm going to tell you how critical that is to the mental health as well. So that was just number one. Like, we're going to get our bodies moving. We're going to learn how to work with each other again. And then from the athletic director standpoint, hey, y'all, don't forget, we got school sports.
Right.
Like, we're going to get it in. Like, whatever. I don't care who's coming out. If you never play volleyball before, it's all good. You want to play, we're going to get you out there.
Yeah.
And we weren't part of a league at that point. So I'm just calling ADs all around the Bay Area. Like, yo, we got this team. It's our first year ever. We'll play your freshman team, your JV team, your varsity team, whatever. You beat us by 50, it don't matter. Like, I just want to get these young people out there. And we did it. And so, like, now that we've just graduated our first senior class, like I said, about a month ago, and to see us, now having like winning seasons in different sports. And that's just like been really dope to see, even only 3 years, how much growth we have. And now next year, us joining like an actual league in the PSAL just has me so excited to see, more and more commitment and buy-in from the young people.
For sure. Now that has to be extremely rewarding, and that's why we do it, is because, honestly, I was just thinking about this. One, before your point about moving your body, I was just thinking about this. We just went to the Great Wolf Lodge, but I didn't work out that morning. And I was just kind of moody, just kind of moody. And I thought about it. I worked out when I got back home, but I thought about it and I was like, oh, I didn't work out today. And so for a person like me that is consistently working out, every morning, my wife gets up at 5:15, I get up at 5:30, so we can kind of stagger. She comes in and works out, then I come in, and then it kind of, staggers. Our kids actually sometimes beat us up, but they don't beat us up, but beat us waking up. And it's so amazing that movement of your body, and once you get a hang of it, like, I'm not a great person if I don't, if I get I was just thinking, what's like a perfect day? It's like, wake up early, work out, have a coffee, hang with the kids, do that sort of thing. And then, the rest of your day seems to be a whole lot better. So that's a great point on that. But just getting back to just the rewarding factor, first of all, I think a lot of the stuff that we do is selfish, but it is also selfish because you doing something for somebody else also makes them feel really good.
100%.
And we just took our kids to the Great Wolf Lodge, and they don't sponsor the program, but I'm going to give them a shout out because it is a blast. But it is extremely exhausting as a parent. And like you share the hotel room, so there is no rest with there's no like separate room where they can go in, or I guess some of them, but the room that we had was 2 beds and we're all in this room together. And my wife was like, this is so exhausting. I said, it's for them, but actually it's for us because we get to see this amount of joy on their faces every single time they're going down this slide, or every single time they get sprayed, or if they're in the wave pool and this wave kind of knocks them down. It's really for us as well. It's like it's a selfish thing, but that's okay. It's okay to be selfish, and it's okay for me to want to work out in the mornings because that's going to make me a better person for them. And so I don't have to flip out when they spill the cereal all over the house, So I think, a lot of the things that we do, yes, they may be selfless, but it's because it is also selfish because it makes us feel good about it,
I love that. And you're a teacher as well. So, I know with your family, you get to see it in your 2 kids' faces, which is beautiful. And as teachers, we get to see a class of 20 or class of 30, and especially over the course of the 4 years, what I've realized now, it's our first graduating class. I'm thinking about students who came in as freshmen and sophomores with little to no physical activity as really part of their life. And now I see them as seniors, not only has their physical body changed, but the self-confidence has increased. They're into boxing and they join the local boxing club at Live in Peace or something like that. So just a life trajectory that can be changed is incredible, especially over time in high school.
Yeah. And especially during COVID, if there was anything that anybody learned was how important your health is and how to take care of yourself and make sure that you keep that vitality for a long period of time. Because if you're not healthy, then everything else goes by the wayside. Your mental capacity to take hard, difficult things is less. Your ability to fight off, obviously, infections and things like that. If you're inflamed and eating the wrong foods, that can really cause a lot of different things and anxieties that you may not have had before. And the natural endorphins that you get from moving your body is so important. And I'm glad that's why I'm in the field that I'm in, because I do get to teach people these healthy habits for a lifestyle. And because there is no such thing as a diet. Because a diet has a beginning and an end. You're going to stop that at some point because it's usually not sustainable. It's a lifestyle that is sustainable. If you live that lifestyle, most of the time, it's okay if you fall back a little bit, but I get right back into it. And it's not like you're having this big drop off. Diets, you have this huge drastic change, and then you get to where you want to get to. Then you go on vacation, then you eat and you drink whatever you want, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that was all for naught.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think that's like the next level that I really want to expand on in our PE class and in our school program is like that. Food definitely being a part of that, and just in the holistic integration into a healthy lifestyle. I'm really blessed that like there's no existing curriculum for our PE class, so I was able to create it from scratch. So the flow that we've created is like Monday, we have just Mindfulness Monday, where after we do our stretching, our normal warm-up routine, we actually do a 15-minute guided meditation, quiet, lights out in the gym, which I was super nervous about at start. I was like, yo, these freshmen are gonna think this is stupid, they're gonna laugh and things like that. And it was actually the opposite. Like the amount of young people, even the most outwardly rambunctious students, was like this actually sometimes their favorite part of the week because it's just silent.
Right.
I'll even ask them like, yo, whose house here is quiet all the time or any of the time? And many of the kids are like, not mine. It's just brother, sister, mom, cousin, whatever, dad, cousin. And so Meditation Monday, just kind of like just a good grounding to start the week. Tuesday, we rock like a different sport, sport skills that we rotate throughout the year. And then Wednesday and Thursday on our block periods, we're blessed in East Palo Alto to have this enormous wetlands right by the bay. And the entrance is 2 minutes from our school. So on Wednesdays and Thursdays, I actually take our kids out for a 90-minute walk on these wetlands we're seeing jackrabbits and hawks, and if we're walking right up to the shore of the bay.
Do they take their shoes off or no?
No, there's actually a paved trail path that goes through it, and there's even some like dirt trails too. And so like that's Wednesday and Thursday, which is like my favorite days. Like we're off campus all day, just walking in nature and just vibing. It's like I get to know the kids one-on-one. They get to feel a little more free because they're not in the normal school environment. And then Friday we rock out with HIIT workouts every Friday. So I get like by the end of Friday, I've done like 4 HIIT workouts with each of my classes. And so yeah, like just that type of stuff, like this holistic, healthy lifestyle that you're talking about is like really what we're trying to get across. And I think in PE, just as an industry in general, it seems like there's more of a push now towards a healthy lifestyle as opposed to like, you got to get you good in basketball or pickleball, soccer, you know what I'm saying, whatever.
For sure. And we take their phones, or we don't take them. They place them in a box.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have to understand phrasing too, because some people will take it literal, just like, our kids beat us in the morning.
Yes.
But we take their phones, we put them in a box, and this may be the only time that they don't have their phone available to them when we go out and do our thing. And it's funny that you say the quiet thing, but we call it like mind body stretching, and just the Shavasana piece where they just lay down and don't think of anything and just hear the sounds. It's amazing what you hear when you can quiet your mind. You can hear so many different things that are going on in the world, like the planes going by, or the nature, and you can just hear it even up on the hill like us. So what direction do you want to go in as you move forward now in your 5, year 6, year 7? What's the next step for that department?
Yeah, I think from the sports perspective, like my job as athletic director, I really want to improve my ability to support coaches. The first couple years, I'm just like, let me get coaches because I want to get coached for every single team. I don't want to have no gaps. I need coaches. So whoever I can grab, teachers, off campus, making sure of course they're qualified and, all those right things. But now I'm at that level where I want to be able to like really get better at mentoring adults. I feel like I've been a youth mentor for, almost 20 years now, which is beautiful. But like, I really want to get better at my ability to have, growing and sometimes difficult conversations with adults as coaches. Like even though basketball obviously is my like sport of expertise, coaching, there's ways of coaching, no matter what the sport is, they're going to lead to more positive impact than others. I'm sure obviously you manage a bunch of coaches with top flight elite. And so that sometimes you have to have difficult conversations with people in order to help them improve. And so I think that I have not done a good enough job of that so far in my first 3 years. So that's definitely what I want to move forward to, is like better coach mentorship. And then the second thing I want to do is I really want to show, very few of our young people are really thinking about sports after high school, at least from like an organized standpoint. So I really want to expose them to like all of the different paths that athletics can take you beyond playing. So whether that's coaching, marketing, running a league, hosting a tournament, like all the, as like the millions of jobs that are associated in the sports industry, I want to do better of like preparing them that way. So that way maybe they can choose a college path that can be in line with sports and another one of their interests.
Wow, I like that. I want to touch on your first point though, because it was it really resonated with me, because I want to make sure that I'm being a good leader in the roles and responsibilities that I have, whether that be in a leadership role at Valley Christian, or whether that be top flight or wherever. But I find it really hard to be able to be a really good mentor to other adults because of the time constraints that I have personally on my life with the jobs and obstacles that I got to manage throughout the day. Do you have any advice as to what you're doing to make sure that you're in that? Because we have, 35 plus coaches with Top Flight. And I haven't been able to reach all of them. I've only been able to reach a few of them. And I love and appreciate every single coach that we have. But for me to mentor 35 people is probably not going to be a real reality because of the time constraints that I have, because I also coach. I also teach. I also have a family. I also, want to do, things outside of that with my buddies and hang out and that sort of stuff.
Yep.
So, what are some of the obstacles that you've had, and how are you able to meet those to get to all those coaches that you want to get to?
I think for now where I'm at is setting realistic goals. So even though I have super high standards and like high hopes for what I want every single coach to be bringing in terms of level of responsibility, level of organization, level of tactical knowledge, level of just like being able to make the right decision when difficult moments pop up. I have to accept that every coach, just like myself, has strengths and weaknesses. So if I see a coach that, is really struggling with just their commitment in terms of like time, like being on time, like, which I think is super, super important, especially with young people. For me, it's like finding the most high level skill that I like to see that I want to like really focus on, and just focus on that, along with, of course, like constant positive reinforcement of the great things that they do. And I find that that's helpful for me, because then it doesn't make me feel like, oh man, this coach has like actually a lot of areas of growth, and that's going to take a bunch of time. I'm being real. Okay, this season, my goal is to work out and help this coach improve their timeliness. And then maybe next year, it's okay, now work on the next high level skill. So I think just like smaller goals allows it to feel a lot more just doable.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen this too with our own coaches too. Like, time management and being on time is something that seems to be difficult for this next generation. And I'm not really sure, because like when I look at things, I can only see things through the lens that I've had as far as experiences. I've never been late to one practice in my whole coaching career. I have never been late. Yeah. And you can ask any of my players. That's just something that I'm not gonna do. But some of our coaches have been late almost every single practice. And so I don't really, so you have a little bit more empathy than me when it comes to that, because it's like, nah, that's not what we do. But I probably need to be a little bit more empathetic to that, because I only see things through my lens. It's like, be late. That I don't know what that means. That was literally a foreign language to me. And just certain things like responding timely to emails. How do you get somebody that's never really done it to be able to do something? Because this is something that I do every single day. You saw me right before we jumped on. I was like, no, I got it. Sorry, Gus. I have to get to this, G, before I get to our conversation. And we still started on time, obviously, but those are just things that I need to be more understanding with, but it's just so hard for me in this next generation. And believe me, I love this next generation, because they see things in a different way.
Yes, sir.
They've been brought up in a different way. And I'm not the old guy that, wants to be get off my lawn type, but I want to make sure that I understand them a little bit better. So maybe you can help me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we probably experienced a lot of the same challenges and require the same level of patience within ourselves, while also, you have to set certain standards. Like Top Flight Elite is this beautiful, beautiful, organization. And, you have certain expectations and standards that have got you to where you're at. And at the same time, like, you can't have people violate in that. So obviously as a leader, and for myself as well, like, we have to kind of choose how much we're going to let the expectation not be met before different conversations need to have,
right.
But I do, we got kids, so we understand the importance of patience and just how much stress can be involved if we don't have patience.
Right.
But I know sometimes that can be harder with young adults or even older adults.
No doubt. Yeah. Patience is something that I constantly have to work on with everybody, because sometimes people don't see things the way that you see them, and you have to have more empathy. That's why my wife is good. That's why, Stephen Giles, he helps me with that a lot of times, because I'll be ready to burn stuff down, like, no, nah. And then, he's like, well, think about this and this and this. And I'm like, all right. I just talked to him earlier this morning, and he talked me down on a couple of things. So.
Hey, shouts to the whole Giles family. Sarah's doing her thing. And
for sure.
And I mean, just from what I've heard, I know Sarah's a fiery coach too. So maybe he might be the person calming down, there too. but Sarah gets the job done. So
no, she's
her.
definitely fiery for sure. And I'm that's one of she used to be an assistant at Valley Christian, and that's what I love to see. So when somebody has it, and you can help cultivate them, I think, because she was going to be that regardless if she was under me at Valley Christian or Top Flight, she was going to be who she was going to be. But to have a little piece of, a little piece in that development, that's what I like. I like people so that's why I don't like to train kids, because most of them aren't good.
Sure.
Anyway, if you have some good talent, I can train you, because it's going to take me too long. I feel like I'm wasting their money. If you don't have the ability at all to be able to put this orange ball into the basket, that's why I just decided not to do it, because what's going to be required for you to actually reach those goals is going to be much more than the 2 days a week that we spend together. And so it's not worth your time or resources as far as the parents go. And it's not worth my time, because I can't really help you develop if you're not going to do something those other 5 days a week that I don't see you.
No doubt. And what's so dope though is, there's a teacher for every stage, right? Like that's not your stage to teach anymore, and so, but there definitely are other people that is their stage that can just get them out there, dribbling the ball with the right hand, dribbling with the left hand, and building their way up. So
I love that. Yeah.
But that's dope that you know that about yourself, so that, as you're saying, no time is wasted, or energy, more importantly, is wasted on either end.
Well, that I do know myself. That's one thing that I do, and that's why I got out of. My undergrad is in psychology, so I went to be a behavior specialist right out of college, and that was I lasted probably about 3 months, and it was like 2 months too long for me. I knew after 1 month that I just couldn't do it, and that's when I got into sales, because I was better at talking to people, I was better at connecting with people, I was better at putting together spreadsheets and talking numbers with people. I was just more passionate. I thought I was going to be passionate about it because I wanted to help people. I was just helping people in a different way. So I knew that being a behavior specialist was not going to be for me, because I couldn't give what those kids needed at the time. But there were so many great people. I'm like, man, how did you do that? How are you so patient and calm with these young people? And I knew, and I had to play the role of that, but I just knew it wasn't me. And I knew as soon as I had another opportunity, I had to take it, because it wasn't going to be beneficial for me, and more importantly, the kids.
100%. And then, so when did you flip to teaching then?
So teaching is different, because so working with those kids, they were all autistic. And so you would either be in a classroom one-on-one situation, or you would go to their house, because we were at a private program, and then you would basically give the parents some time off, because it's so difficult. But I just remember one of the days, one of the students just kind of went off on me, and you're not supposed to really react. And the applied behavioral analysis says don't react to any of the behaviors. If you react to positive behaviors or negative behaviors, well, especially not the negative ones, don't react in a way. And so the student basically attacked me, and I had to protect myself, of course. And I'm a big enough guy to where I'm not really worried about this kid hurting me. But he scratched me up a little bit, and then later on he threw his whole hot lunch on me, and I was just like, and I tried to make sure that I didn't show any type of response to it. But after that, I was just like, I don't think I can do this and continue to not and not react. I just didn't think that was going to be something that I could do. And I knew I had to get out at that moment. And then you start out, but I was always coaching. So coaching and teaching. So, teaching health is something that I align with every single day. That's what I live by, teaching people that have healthy lifestyles and healthy habits and all that. MPE and moving your body was much different than that. That is something that I can give to these kids, because even if they're not at that level, I can show them how to get closer to that. I can show them, instead of eating McDonald's every single day, maybe eat this once a week instead. Or, that to me was a little bit different than what I was doing. It's more in the lane of what my strengths are, compared to that is what I thought I wanted to do. But it clearly wasn't the lane for me at that time.
Got you. Well, that's dope. I mean, obviously you found a beautiful new lane to flourish in, and it's been really dope to watch Top Flight Elite grow, and obviously your work at Valley Christian, super dope. And actually, it's funny now that I think you guys are Division 5, or it depends on like what
we're Division 2.
Division 2, but I thought I saw the girls team. I thought for CCS, what did y'all run? Two?
Yeah.
NCS state 2?
So in state is different.
Maybe it's the boys. Do the boys run smaller in state?
No, they're D2 as well.
For real?
State, I think they might have been D3.
That's what confused me, I think.
Yeah, D3 for state. State is different. Now they do the competitive equity.
I see.
Once they started doing that a few years ago, then you could go to any division.
Okay.
But we started in D3 when we won CCS my first year. And the next time we won, we were in Division 2. And then we've been in the Open most of the other times. Fell short the last couple of years in the Division 2.
Okay.
But in state 2 years ago, we were, I believe, D4.
Maybe that's what it was. I feel like I keep it on East Side, and I feel like I saw maybe that you and East Side were going to be on track to play each other at some point in the past couple of years. Maybe that's why I got confused on divisions.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
That's
one more point on that earlier is the behavior specialist felt like a job. Felt like a job. I had to go to something that I didn't really care for. This, on the other hand, everything is basically centered around basketball, whether it be coaching basketball or director of basketball, and then teaching. These are all the lanes that I really love. I love educating people.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm doing what I love and enjoy to do. And I think COVID, to your earlier point about COVID, is I got really rejuvenated once COVID ended, because it's like, man, this could have been gone. And I was, thinking about like, man, I don't know how much longer do I want to do this. You start thinking about those sort of questions. Mm-hmm. And now I don't know when I want to stop, because I just enjoy it too much.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah.
Yes, sir. And so, it's a trip. I'm blessed to have a lot of people in my small circle who also do what they love, and I have close friends that are working and making good money, but don't have that same level of passion about what they're doing. And when they hear me talking about what I'm doing, just with the energy and the love that I speak about it with, they note that, and they're like, damn, like I kind of want that, but maybe because they're deep into their career, it's hard to pivot at this point. They got a wife, kids, mortgage, all the things about. So yeah, just super, super grateful. And, I know Valley Christian obviously is a super unique setting as well. On top of the hill, you'll have a really special, unique community. And now at KIPP Esperanza, like I feel that same thing in that, like, it's small, which is like our superpower. Of course, certain struggles come with that in terms of like numbers and all that stuff, but the ability to like really know every kid, so many of the kids that are from the neighborhood too. So you get to like learn the neighborhood and their families that way. It's just super unique. I went to Homestead, 2,500 people. And so I'm sure the teachers knew a bunch of kids, but there was also, a lot of like faceless kids to a certain degree, so I'm grateful.
And Valley was D5, D4 back in the day, and so they worked their way up, and now we have close to 1,800 students.
That's awesome.
But there was definitely times where they were Division 4 when we were in high school. For sure. Steve Cotton, my former assistant, they went to a D4 state final game. So it's just going to take time, and who knows, there were some people that when they went up on the hill, like my boss was there when they first started going up to the hill. And so he's seen, things 360 change up there in 25 years. It's crazy how things can change so fast, and you'll probably still be up there with the vibrant personality and all that, and you'll look back on it and be like, wow, that was an amazing run. And then you'll be trying to prepare the next person to step in and continue and basically pass that baton on. And got the Olympics coming up, so that's pretty cool too. But you'll pass that baton on to whoever else is next in line.
That's what it is. Yeah. Leadership cultivation is definitely something I really want to start focusing on now that I feel I have my feet on the ground there, both in the sports department, also teaching as well. Like, the dream is always, have the young people that come up there as students, like love it so much that they want to come back and serve as educators or coaches,
Right.
So I feel like once we get that circle going on, then I'm going to really feel like we're really building something that's sustainable.
No, for sure. And you'll get a lot of value in that too. Like my whole staff was former Valley Christian, outside of me, all Valley Christian alumni.
Love that.
And we have so many alumni that are teachers or in administrative positions at the school. You know, our principal and both assistant principals are both graduates from Valley Christian.
Love that.
Our baseball coach went to Valley Christian, and so many people along the line, went to Valley Christian. So that's pretty cool, because some people are lifers up there, and a lot of the admin too. Same deal, where their kids go all the way through, and that's my plan, is to have our kids go all the way through. You know, from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade. I think that's really cool. And then you talked about the relationship piece. You meet so many different people by being up there. And then when your kids are going through that system as well, you know, we've met so many families already. Like CJ's 2035 basketball team is about to be nice, because we're Colin and I were already seeing, you know, all the kids that play basketball, and we got them all on the same team now.
Nice.
So look out for them in I think it's 2032. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Man,
So
that's going to be quick. You already know, man. Like, yeah.
Well, that's in 12 years.
Okay.
So we're in 24 right now.
Yeah.
So it'll be 20, 35, 36.
Okay. Beautiful. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be dope.
Yeah.
It's going to be dope. And like another big thing we've been trying to do, at least with the basketball tip, is like, because not a lot of our young people, at least at our school, have experience with like organized hoop, we try to show them like all the different like opportunities. Like, of course, like AAU is like, you know, the primary one in terms of out of school basketball. But even like pickup ball, like, you know, going back to like, I don't want to be the old dude, the get off my lawn old dude, like next generation. Because I think there's so many dope things. You know, it's just a fact that like not as many hoopers nowadays ball outdoors. And for better or for worse, you know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that was like an
I don't ball outdoors. I know you do. I don't ball outdoors.
There it is. So, I'm
not. You will be. That's why I didn't play your full court 21, which I'll ask you about next. But I just don't play outdoors.
I get it, man. I mean, it's not my primary spot anymore, for sure. I still try to get out there, like maybe like a couple times a month, just to like get in touch with the park. But I feel you. Like, there's legitimate reasons, even just like the ease of finding indoor gyms now is much greater than it was 20 years ago. Like, that's just a fact. But you know, I still like to get them out there. You know what I'm saying? Just to put that time in.
We do play outdoors with my son every day.
Nice. You got the backyard joint. Yeah.
But as far as like me going to play, nah.
Yeah, it's not it.
It's just not me.
Nah, the knees hurt a little extra hard the next day.
It's hard for me to even just go play like indoor.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But I do like to shoot, which I know you came near our gym a couple of times and during COVID and shot. But I love shooting. That's my thing.
Yes, sir.
I just love to be able to do that. But yeah, that's like a quiet time.
Well, that's one thing I appreciate though about New York. To be honest with you, obviously street ball is, you know, much bigger in New York than really anywhere around the world. But I feel like it does. I would hope that, especially like with Instagram and video spreading so quickly, and all the summer tournaments in New York being so poppin', like I have a hope and like a dream that that's going to hit the Bay again. You know, like, I know we have the San Francisco Pro-Am, the Oakland Pro-Am. There's the ABA out here in the Bay Area, but like, to my knowledge, there's no real like outdoor tournaments. Like, I know, actually, let me get back. I actually have heard of some.
Well, you run one.
Well, yeah, that's not
5-on-5. But
yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of part of the reason why Full Court 21, you know, is looking to spread across the globe, and is spreading across the globe. Is that like, we want to reintroduce that, number one, and ours is just a one day, which is dope, super unique tournament. And I also like have hopes of like the 5-on-5, like in the same way that there's Rucker Park or Dykeman or now, you know, LES Express, all these dope tournaments in New York City. Like, I think they'd be so lit. I know Mosswood probably had one back in the day in Oakland, but I have hope for that too. But I hope that Full Court 21.
But you're doing a good job, and Gus is the leader of the Bay Area FC21, which was started by Babito out of New York. And this is going to be the third or fourth year now.
This is our third year in the Bay.
Third year. So why don't you tell everybody about that and make sure you cut this clip so you can share it.
Yeah, got you. Yeah, so Full Court 21 is just a super unique tournament. It's the world's most unique tournament, as Chris said, started by Bobito Garcia in New York City. So it's 1-on-5, no teams, no teammates. It is your classic, 21, where you're on the court trying to score against everyone. The first round is half court. And if you win your first round matchup, you get to the final that same night, which is full court. So 5 guys or 5 girls on the court. Let's say I shoot and I miss it, and Chris, you get the rebound. You're scoring on the opposite goal. So it is a the final is super, super challenging, full court action. But from like a skill development standpoint, it's about dealing with pressure, scoring against double teams, conditioning, ball handling, all that. And then just from like a culture perspective, it's just a beautiful time at the park. We have a high school division for boys and girls, which is completely free. We have a men's and women's division as well. We have an MC on the mic. We got music. It's just like bringing people out around an outdoor basketball court, which I think can be done or is such a unique experience, whether you're a hooper or not.
And what are the dates for everybody?
Yep. So it's coming up on Sunday, July 21st. We have a dope partnership with the city of Menlo Park this year. So it's going to be at Burgess Park in Menlo Park. So definitely check out my Instagram, which is Hoops Artist, or just check out fullcourt21nyc.com and check out all the participating cities. I think that's one of my favorite parts about this is that, I host our Bay Area chapter, but this is played in 5 cities in Canada, 5 cities in Japan, Philly, DC, Boston. This is just a worldwide tournament. And so the winner of the Bay Area tournament, we got sponsorship. So we're flying them out to New York on August 22nd to play in the all-world final, where you're going against the winner from Japan, the winner from Canada, the winner from Boston, the winner from New York, all 5 boroughs in New York. And it's played at Goat Park, which is a really, really dope and famous outdoor court in New York. And that's like honestly what I'm most excited about is sending the Bay Area winners out there, because if they've never been to New York, to be in New York in the summertime at an ill street ball event is, in my personal opinion, there's nothing that equates to that from like a basketball perspective. Like the energy is so live, is so just pure, that I'm really, really excited for 2 folks from the Bay to get down with that.
No, I'm really proud of you. I went to the first one, and I think we sponsored first and second.
Yes, sir.
And it was a really nice event. You had everything laid out the right way, and that was only in year 1, the one that I saw. And so I already know that, you have escalated everything and made it top notch. I'm sure the players are even better too, because I know you had some good players there too, and then they got tired at the end. That was, you don't really know. Playing full court 1-on-1 would be tough, but playing full court 1 versus 4 other people on the court, that's tough. Is there like what is the strategy behind that? Like, guard the ball, maybe you can rip somebody and go get an easy layup.
Exactly.
Or stay back and wait till they miss. Double team.
Yes,
see if
sir.
You get what are some of the secrets?
I think that's what's so dope about 21 is that depending on your style of play and your level of fitness or just your skill set, you decide what kind of player you are. So like for me, I actually like to be on the ball. Like I'll get a couple steals that way. And I feel like even if I'm on the ball after the shot goes up, I can still turn and read the shot and still have a good chance of rebounding as opposed to just like chilling under the hoop. So I like to be on the ball personally. I'm also the type, I'm the sneaky dude. Like I like it, when the guy gets the rebound, I do the Jose Alvarado, creep down low and like do a little steal from the back.
And so if they get the rebound, but you steal it, are you going the opposite way?
No, because the rebounder would have been going the opposite way. So if I'm stealing, I'm actually going up really close. Yeah, exactly.
So I get the rebound, I take a dribble, and you come up behind me, you have an easy bucket right there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
But like if you look at video of like the guys and girls who have won both their city qualifiers and the all world final, it's just like they're just dogs. Like obviously, as you're saying, the conditioning has to be on point because you are going back and forth against single and double teams. And you have that ability you have to be able to score inside. Definitely have to have pull-up jumper, hit the 3 sometime too. So it's a really well-rounded game, which is why I think it's like such a great just demonstration of high-level basketball.
And is there an ideal height for the like 3x3? at the highest level, there's like an ideal height between 6'3" and 6'6",
Right.
because you can switch on mostly everything, but you can still handle, you can still dribble, you can pass, and most of all, that you can defend, small guards, but you can also defend a post. Right. So is there like an ideal height when it comes to full court 21?
Nah, I mean, I think it might be really, really tough for like a true center to do the full court for sure. But honestly, like 1 through 4, you're solid. Like I said, as long as you got gas to be able to go back and forth.
Right.
Like we've seen winners that are 6'5" to really like 5'10". So just as long as you got that game and that dog, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. And do you do full court 21 in your practices?
It's funny. We actually have, and this upcoming year, I want to like institute it more into our preseason work. I've also done demonstrations. A good buddy who you know as well, Coach Wade Nakamura at Monte Vista, he coached the boys out there. I did a demo for them last summer, and it was beautiful. Like, some of the guys had never even played the game 21 ever, which is like, I'm really feel grateful to be able to like just expose them to that super important game, in basketball development. But I love showing high schoolers just new games that they can play, and coaches too, new games they can play with their kids. You've run a million practices in your life, and I'm sure there's times when you're like, okay, I need some new drills just to like make it fresh for me as a coach and also for the players. And I feel like full court 21 is a perfect fun activity, and we time it too. So it's either first to 21 or whoever has the most points after 15 minutes with a halftime at 7:30. So I feel like that's
a long game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and for your practice, you could always adjust it either way. Let's say you do a 5-minute full court 21 or whatever. But I'll be bringing that to my boys this year.
No, I think we're going to use that because we're going to use 3x3 a lot this year, because it's nonstop. So the only time that there's a stoppage in play is when there's a bucket. Actually, not even when a bucket. I think it's a foul.
Foul, right? Yeah.
So there's no stoppage in play. Even if it's a bucket, the other team is taking it out right away, getting it checked back in, and then the 12-second shot clock.
Yes.
Which that gets you because the biggest thing about high school kids is decision making, and if you take that decision making piece out of it and you put the time constraints on it, all they have to do is react. And now they're just playing instead of, oh, what am I going to do here? Should I go set a screen? No, you don't have time to do that. And that's what we're going to start doing a lot. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts that talk about 3x3 and how you can implement that into your system. And most of this stuff is a 3-person type of arrangement when it comes to your sets anyway, or we call them actions. I mean, you've seen some of our stuff. Mostly all this stuff is like a 3-player type of deal with 2 players on the opposite side doing something.
Spacing out,
Yeah, but it's like even on a Zoom or a pin down, it's always interacting with 3 people. So if you go dribble handoff into like pistol action, that's a 3-person action, which you can run out of 3-on-3, and the backside is going to do something. What are you going to do to hold them? Are you setting a flare screen? Are you doing an interchange? Or are you doing a pin down? Something is going to hold the backside of the defense. And so I think the full court 21 can allow you to still like focus on your individual skills, and you got to make a play because there's nobody but yourself. And
yes,
so
sir.
Now you're constraining them. Like, I have to be able to get a shot off against 4 other people. And the defense, are we going to pressure them to try to go score? Or are we going to fall back? And post players, if you don't know how to dribble, then what's going to happen when you get the rebound?
Yeah.
So I think that's a great thing. And we're definitely going to be implementing that as we get ready for our season next year.
I love that. And similarly, we do no out of bounds in full court 21. So just to maximize as you're saying, the game moves. The game really only stops in full court 21 if you make a bucket, because you got to shoot yours from the top of the key for the extras. But besides that, the game is moving. Unless it's halftime, you're moving.
And even coaches, if you guys are listening to this, don't play out of bounds when you're open runs. When you guys are playing open run, you get so many more touches by not having to check the ball out. So if the ball goes out of bounds, grab it and go. And then you continue to play like that, and you get so many more touches. That's why 3-on-3 or small-sided games are so much better in practice, because you get so many more touches. The more touches you get, the more experience you get. The more experience you get, the more confidence you get. The more confidence you get, the better you're going to be out there on the court. Because that's when things change, is when I know I can get to wherever I want to get to on this court or I know if I get this open shot, it's probably going in because you had a short closeout or a late closeout. That's where you start to get the good players to great players, or the average players to good players, or the below average players to being, right there in the middle. Is satisfactory by having them out there on the court. It's really about the confidence level that they get.
100%. And this tournament as well is, we have a high school division, boys and girls, and adult division, boys and girls. And like I said, it's completely free for high school players. I really enjoyed watching our high school game last year. We had, Eddie Whiteside, who's one of our players at KIPP Esperanza. We had this boy, Cademan, who's the 2 guard at Kings Academy, really dope stretch shooter. And then we had a couple from some San Jose schools too. And so just to see 16 and 17-year-olds going at it in a game that they had never really played before, but the energy that they brought and the fierceness, I feel like they enter the court kind of not knowing what to expect. And then once the games got going, they really embraced, I feel just that street ball mentality and that energy. And these are all guys that play organized ball, both AAU and for their school. And so I was really, really impressed. And so I'm really excited to see the high schoolers come out again this year. And
are you capping it at an amount? How many?
No, all are welcome. So what we do is, if we have a bunch of players, we just do 5 or 6 players per round, and then the winner of each round would play each other in the final. So yeah, all are welcome.
Do you expect to have, how many people do you expect per division this year?
Yeah, our goal, if we can get, for the high school, my goal is 10. If we can get 10 young boys and 10 girls out there, I'll be super happy, because what I'm learning is I'm gonna tell you, AAU is just that runs the summer, Right. So to get hoopers that are solid enough, or just love the game enough to be out there, many of them are in Chicago, in Kentucky, and Vegas, all the tournaments. So I'm looking for 10 high school boys and 10 high school girls. And then for the adult divisions, yeah, I think similar. The goal, if we can get between 10 and 15 in each division, I feel great about that. But really, the more the merrier. And like I said, working with some great partners. City of Menlo Park, which runs a dope adult league all throughout the week. They just hosted a dope 3-on-3 tournament that I played on Saturday. They're going to be blasting it out. And I've really been trying to make some connections with some dope women-led organizations here in the Bay as well. Pick Her Up Basketball, which is a really, really dope organization. Check them out. It's essentially just a group of women that organize pickup runs for women here in the Bay. Right now, their main run is in Oakland, but they have a bunch of people here in the South Bay that are looking for spots to just have some pickup ball in. So they're super dope. Definitely check out Pick Her Up Basketball. And also the ABA. I know I talked to you before about the Silicon Valley Panthers and the San Jose Knights. These are 2 ABA teams here in the Bay Area that have some really solid players. So I'm working with their coach, Coach Doc, and their owner Shabazz to bring out some of their ABA players who are really, really solid dudes. So it's going to be good competition for sure.
Nice. And as we kind of wind down here, you're the hoop artist. That's what you got. That's your handle on Instagram. And that's how we met. I think we're watching CCS championship game. And we met through our mutual friend Clinton. Yep. We just sat there and we talked hoop. And then I think we went to a restaurant after and hung out and talked hoop. And the next day you were putting on a art show.
Yes, sir.
Where we met Donald Foyle,
that's right.
among other people.
Yeah.
And I still have your art piece in my living room.
Oh, awesome.
I don't know if you saw it, but
that's a great piece.
Larry Bird and the Magic. And then the two-tone, which, I think is really cool. I might end up putting it in here. But yeah, it's in the living room. And then we have we have 2 other pieces too. The one with the deflated basketball, I think in New York.
Yeah.
That's in my living room too. And then there was one more I think I got. But yeah, talk about your love for art. And then you would put together this really massive sculpture, I guess you would call it,
yes, sir.
A basketball player shooting a basketball, but you did it with all basketballs.
Yeah.
And you painted it and colored it in really cool ways. So talk about your love for hoop, but art as well, and how you made it into this thing.
Yeah, I mean, that really kind of spawned out of New York. New York obviously is also a mecca of art and street art. And so I remember being out there being like, all right, I love visual art and I love hoops. So just, put them together. And so I started making these necklaces that were made out of the chain from chain basketball nets, which was my first creation. And I would have shoelaces kind of woven in between them. And I really liked that. And then my mind started to get a little bigger with the sculptures, which, you saw at the art show. But what I loved about it was finding other sports artists, like the Larry Bird, Magic Johnson piece that you have is from a good friend of mine, John Menente, who's a super, super talented artist. And like connecting with other community who also makes art around sports. That was like my favorite part about it. And then hosting those art shows they would pull up to and saw Donald there. I think for me, it's just all about like following my spirit. Like, I know I love basketball, like that's obviously a fact, but I don't ever like to feel like I can only go one lane. Like, I love helping to organize Bobito's Full Court 21. I love coaching basketball at the high school level. I love creating art. I love, taking my daughter to a WNBA game. Like, these are just all things all under the world of basketball, which kind of goes back to what I was saying before about exposing young people. So many different things can come from sports. Like, if you want to ball, then ball and like go for as long as you can. But there's thousands of things that you can do with hoop. And so for me, my spirit is a creative spirit. And I love just combining wherever I can with hoops.
I love that. Anything else you want to leave the people today?
Nah, just, I super appreciate your time. And yeah, definitely, like I said, check out Full Court 21. All the info is on my Instagram at Hoops Artist. You can also check out fullcourt21nyc.com for all the cities around the world that are participating. And we can't wait to see y'all out there on July 21st in Menlo Park.
Definitely. Where can everybody follow you?
Hoops Artist on Instagram. That's where I'm most active at.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to seeing what you do with KIPP Esperanza, also Full Court 21 and everything else that you're doing. But it's been a pleasure to sit here and talk with you. I learned so much during these conversations. And so thank you for sharing all the things that you did, whether it be about leadership or about the things that you're doing, and just the passion that you share to this world is infectious, and I know you won't ever lose that quality. That's why you were on the game show, The Price is Right,
yes,
as well as everything that you do. There's nobody that I have met that talks bad about you, and that says something about your character, the reason why you do things, and just seeing where you've come from and where you're going. I just can't wait to see the rest of your journey, and I just appreciate you, man, from the bottom of my heart. So everybody, this is Gus Gauntlett. Make sure you go follow him on Instagram, Hoop Artist, and then follow his school, because they're going to be doing some big things over the next couple of years. They're entering a league, and they're going to be playing in CCS, and we probably could, we might want to do this again too, because there were so many other things that we didn't even talk about, which we didn't talk much about basketball today, but that's why it's called Beyond the Buckets. Yes, Thank you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And today's show is a wrap.
Thank you for listening to the Beyond the Buckets podcast. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and share the show with your friends. And until next time, take care.